So it'll be Gragas, and they will take Annie unless JIN wants to take it. They could first pick Victor, and that is what they're going to do. Remember that Sivir and Annie are still up. They would be powerful engage tools for CJ Entus.
Could be really good. On top of that, they get somebody that builds another Righteous Glory on top of it. You get the Talisman Ascension Annie. Boom. Bada bing. Bam.
Boom, boom, bada bing, not bada bing, bada boom.
English is my second language.
You're not hip with the Frank Sinatra, that period in the '60s where people used to say stuff like that.
My hips do not hop. So.
Oh, I definitely believe that. Evelyn being looked at by Ambition. I'm still not a fan, but
well, I like the Maokai.
The Maokai is strong, but they give up Sivir and Annie for it.
Nope, they are going to take the Sivir.
So probably this will mean that Chaser gets Eve if they take the Sivir. And going for a very safe champion in the top lane for Maokai. I almost said top line. I almost became Korean there for a second.
Yeah, right?
Calling the lanes lines instead of lanes.
Soon you'll hear me pronouncing all the champion names in a Korean, the way they're written in Korean.
Well, that will be quite confusing to people. So Annie has to be taken here, I feel. You can't let them have Maokai, Sivir, and Annie. That is too much engage to deal with.
We'll see how good Helper is on Maokai. Especially if he's known for more of his carry-oriented champions.
I think that anyone is good on Maokai. I think I can be good on Maokai.
Someone out there will prove you wrong somehow.
W to a minion every time.
Yeah. Throw your saplings in completely the wrong direction.
Walk into a team fight, forget to toggle R on. There's only so many misplays you could have with Maokai.
True. All right, Evelyn for Chaser.
Evelyn, Annie. Expected picks are locked in, so Ambition has to dive deeper into the jungle champion pool. Of course, something he's known for. He's been one of the most successful Lee Sin players this season, and he's got that Maokai to gank for in the top lane. And you have to imagine that Trace is going to play Rumble here. Coco has played Echo into GBM's Victor before, so he's going to pick that matchup once again. Unless it's a jungle. Could still be a jungle Echo, we don't know. That is a champion that I would say Ambition is likely to play.
If he does play it, would he build tank, the Cinderhulk tank build,
or
would he go into the Magus and
no, yeah. You definitely go for the tank Echo. You have enough damage, I think, off of your passive procs that you're going to be okay. And you do need him to add that little bit of extra front line. Oh, this would be a big switch up for Trace. Looks like they're going to lock in Hecarim, considering he's already switched to Ignite's teleport. So just thinking about what AD carry they want here.
So I've talked to Nofe before, and he, during IM Katowice, he said there was two schools of thought where, Koreans would think that Maokai beat the Maokai Hecarim match, and the Chinese thought that the Hecarim wins that matchup. And apparently, according to him, Hecarim is the counterpick to Maokai, which, as proven through IM Katowice, his words. So, this could be, in their mind, a counterpick to the Maokai, at least have a stronger lane.
Well, I like Captain Jack. I mean, we'll see how it actually pans out. Of course, Hecarim doesn't come online until later than Maokai in the game, generally speaking, because he's very item dependent. But I like the Lucian pick here. I really like the Lucian pickup because they want to just win the laning phase. JIN, I think they played better for like 90% of the game last time, but it faltered in the end. And they can be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more punishing with a Lucian Annie lane and a Victor in the mid lane. Cassiopeia, it's a large troll that we're going through right now.
Yeah.
That is so risky. Yeah, I think the TF is actually a good pick. And yes, TF is going to be the lock-in. The TF is very interesting because you're going to be able to just make sure that you can get those engages. Again, it's just another long-range engage tool with the Sivir, with the Maokai, and make sure you can get onto that backline. And Victor not really going to be able to get out of a lot of these engages that CJ is going to be offering up just a ton of crowd control from the CJ Entus composition. And
Is this an anti-mid?
no.
Okay.
No, they're still just, they're trying to figure this out. They're trading around.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Finally.
They figured it out in the end.
I would have been very surprised to see a Victor support all of a sudden.
Would you? It's Jin Air. I mean, we could have seen Chaser's Rengar come back out.
This isn't Tucson on alongside IM. This is not the player that you would want to, that you would think of unorthodox picks.
Yeah, it's true. Che, definitely a much more meta player. Well, Jin Air going to be playing some Hecarim this game, and a bit of a surprise for this team, this organization. Can they get it to work? They have a double flank composition, but there's really nobody to flank on CJ because Coco's going to be in the back line, and Siver's going to be charging forward. So
and you'll have Echo doing the same thing.
That's right. Well, we're going to get into game number 2, guys. Jin Air versus CJ coming right up.
Much bigger cheers from the Jin Air side this time around.
They had to wake each other up after the last game, Barry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I was saying, Evelynn and Hecarim are great if you're playing against something like a Jinx, or you're playing against a Victor, or somebody that wants to stand pretty far back and have a very safe pocket behind the front line to the flanks. Those are the kind of champions that are vulnerable to flanks. But CJ is just all in. Everyone's going in with his composition. So who exactly are the targets going to be for Evelynn and Hecarim? The flank is still going to be good, but it's going to be nowhere near as powerful as it is against certain other compositions. So I like CJ's draft here. I think it should be really fun to watch.
I mean, I love the amount of backline threat that they have, right? Because they have Coco going in the back. Then you have Echo with the phase dive, and he gets that blink right after that first dash. So, and they have good amounts of AoE CC that they can bring out as well on top of the single target card. So, good composition, well rounded out. But I feel like if they fall behind, they'll stay behind.
Yes, that is the problem, is that they have to be effective in this early game, but they have a lot of crowd control in the lanes to do it. They have hard CC, they have in top and bot. That means that Coco has some freedom for where he's going to gank. There's also the possibility of some insane mind games here. So let me pull up a situation that could happen. So Coco backs, all right, to buy some items. Ambition stands farming in the mid lane. He then recalls, and then they both teleport back into mid lane for a gank. That actually is a possibility. This can happen.
Nuts.
This is a thing that can happen.
And the amount of damage that's loaded onto that ult too, if he can actually land it on top of going back in.
That would be very unlikely. You
Yeah.
actually have to stand in his shadow after he recalled. You would be pretty dumb to do that. But
Ooh.
Ambition.
Fight.
Nice little poke here early on. GBM is here. Ambition cannot take this. Has to flash follow-up. There's more hates. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, Ambition.
Oh,
Well,
they didn't. Oh,
he went on a dangerous mission. Chaser found him at the Scuttle Crab, got the jump on him, had the red buff already. So it was red buff versus blue buff right there.
red buff wins.
Yes, red buff. Quite potent. So. Little bit of a disadvantage, and now Chaser is going to have his run of the enemy jungle.
That's such a smart way to, smart thing for a Chaser to have done though, because Ambition obviously didn't expect his red buff to be stolen by Evelynn. So, and all the other lanes showed, so he probably thought it was just a regular jungle start.
Yes, he did. It was. So when they saw, to explain that, when they saw CJ go in and put all those wards in that formation that's becoming more popular, where it covers all the entrances, you kind of know that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
So Chaser, we've seen Chaser's creative jungle pathing before. I mean, he absolutely dominated Watch the other day when he just basically ran circles around him via pathing.
Yeah.
And that was very clever. Yeah, you're right, absolutely right, Barry. You you do not expect that.
I don't blame Ambition for getting first blood like he usually does this time.
He's not known for getting first blood out of the jungle. That was a mid lane thing.
Yeah, but reputations carry over. Well, Chase are trying to maybe make something work here.
No, not really going to find much. Bad Life already on the recall.
CJ is wise to his tactics.
Wise to his tactics, yes. And Chaser starts to get some more deep wards in there. He's the king of the crab this time. Where he got it stolen away so many times in the last game by Ambition.
Good spell shield.
Yeah, we haven't seen very much Jungle Echo. Sven has played it. That's about it.
We've mainly seen it in the mid lane, I think.
We actually have seen hardly any Echo at all. Mickey and Coco are the only players to have played it in the mid lane.
Right.
So it's only been a couple games here and there. Certainly not as popular here in Korea as it has been in other regions.
We've seen it everywhere else, like top lane, jungle, mid lane.
Yeah, still no top lane Echoes in Korea.
Yeah.
But here comes Ambition. There goes Ambition. There's no gank there. Jays are going to get seen on this ward.
Standard Evelyn ward.
Yep, nice ward into that side. Bad Life went for the early recall and then the ward placement after the recall of the bottom lane from Jin. And yeah, just looking at pickaxes, kind of early recalls for both AD carries actually.
Yeah.
This game very fast. Getting that earlier power. And GBM just farming up, having a bit of a hard time though already, falling pretty far behind his lane opponent. Coco going for the level 2 boots. He does not have Ghost this game.
Cleanse.
Yeah, he needs it against the Annie. So the cleanse has to be taken. And that means that he needs that little bit of extra speed if he's going to go gank lanes right as he hits 6.
That's the cooldown boots. Interesting choice.
It's very common to see on TFs who take cleanse. Just because you need that speed boost in the other lanes to make sure you can wrap up kills. And it makes, of course, means that you have more gold cards to use during a chase, and then more ultimates overall. It can accelerate the pace of your ulting.
So what do you build next after that? Then a cooldown boots, and do you go Morellonomicon? Do you go Lich Bane? Do you go Zonia?
That's what I love about TF. There's so many different options. In this particular game, I would go Zonia, but I think it'll depend on how it actually ends up playing out. Coco just auto-attacking Chaser over the wall, taking a little bit of damage from that Grump buff, but not too much. And I take the Zonias just because there's a Victor, and your primary focus should just be getting in the back line and team fighting. So you can take, or you could take Morellonomicon into. Coco taking a bit of damage right there. Chilling Smite goes down.
A lot of damage.
They just need to keep him chunked out. That should be the goal right now. Make sure that he's not going to be high health enough to make plays onto the lanes. Trace playing very far back underneath his own turret. Everyone on Jin positioning themselves in the lane pretty defensively at the moment. You can see there's a pink ward even in the river brush for Jin on the bottom side.
Surprised it hasn't been cleared out yet. I guess Helper just wanted to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, this is interesting. So yeah, Mad Life trying to walk forward right here, but there's a big wave coming in. You can see Jin don't want to walk forward. They know Coco's ultimate is up. They don't want to give him any opportunities.
Once again, a slower start to the earlier game, with the exception of that exciting first blood.
But even then, Jin is actually behind because they're losing out in CS on a couple lanes at the moment.
Yeah, 9 CS down in the AD carry position. It's recovered significantly in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think that after GBM was able to upgrade his Hex core, he's been able to clear the waves better and force TF to lose a couple into the turret, as well as that gank, denying a bit of CS too. So, Jin still looking to ward heavily on the bottom side. Deep ward's going in courtesy of Mad Life. And CJ still going to be looking for that opportunity, but there hasn't been a choice really yet for Coco. as to where to go. Trace is just literally just sitting there farming under his turret and not pushing out the lane.
Yeah.
And he has that control over it. He can push out the lane anytime he wants because he's playing Hecarim, and he just use that rampage and keep on going.
I feel like what the desire here is that you have the Sivir, you have the Maokai, both of them shove in waves so well, and they just want maybe a misstep, a bad gank to come in, and then the TF goes in to save the day.
Yeah, the problem is that you have to have that wave pressure in order to make that a reality.
Right.
And you're going to be giving up a lot in the mid lane. If Coco doesn't, if it has to TP under his own turret, GBM could just kill the tower in mid lane.
Right. I feel like it's a win-win kind of gambit for CJ Entus though, because then if they constantly push up both side lanes, and then they get a lot of chip damage onto the turrets, and meanwhile in the mid lane you just have Coco just farming up, and then Chaser has to make a very tough decision about where to go.
Yes, true. I just don't know if they are getting the chip damage down. We haven't seen those towers in a little bit. So it's because of the way that Jack and Che are freezing right now, they're not really getting that damage down. Coco, Chaos Storm comes in on top of him just to push him out, and that's fine. All GBM has to do is control him.
Doing a fine job of that.
So he's all the way back now. Doesn't have a lot of wards around the river to play too aggressively for very long. Coco still has his last potion, and he has a couple amp tomes.
The bottom lane CS lead has also shrunk again too. So CJ Entus, what do they want to do?
Yeah, they're still 300 CS up. I'm not entirely sure where that is coming from.
Might be from the jungle. Might be from the jungle enchants.
Yes, that is possible. Jungle enchants because of the Sightstone first from Chaser. Might be from the Relic Shield as well. That's a pretty large gold lead, though, considering that First Blood is on to Jin. It's very strange, actually.
40.
I'm not exactly sure what's causing that. Trace, meanwhile, hasn't recalled yet out of the top side. All he has had is that flask, so just a very farm-centric lane. But because of the passive way he's been playing, he hasn't had a chance, really, to recall without losing some golden experience to the turrets. So there may be a dive possibility. If CJ wants to 3-man dive top, which they could, yep, this is really smart. Yep, just got to go ahead, land the gold card. Trace has to ult out. So they can't finish it off, though. Ambition not there. They can't get the turret. That is not going to be a possibility, and they're going to take about equal damage onto the mid lane. Chaser there for some auto attacks. Now, Coco coming in from the flank is just going to clear the way with the wild cards. GBM gets a parting auto attack, and Ambition there with the Raptor buff. Not going to be able to make a play too far away, and they do actually get the tower. That is a bit of a surprise.
Well done. You know, I feel like it might have been more worth it. Like, I know this is like armchair kind of shot calling, but it might have been more worth it for, you know, JIN to have just gone for that dragon with 2 people on the top side. It would have taken them a very long time to get down there instead of going for that chip damage on the mid lane.
Well, I think that they didn't commit to the mid lane turret early enough either. It's hard to say right now. I mean, if they can get the mid lane down soon, then it might be worth it. But
oh my!
I mean, they can keep ganking Trace now on the top side because he has no safety.
Right, and a Righteous Glory onto the Maokai.
Okay, nice flash from Coco, and here we go. Some all-ins in the bottom side space. Pops his ultimate. There's some trading going on. Jack trying to deal damage to Mad Life. Jack doesn't really do any damage to Mad Life. There is a teleport onto the Tibbers. Trace going to come through, and now everybody coming down into the bottom. They're going to go W under the turret. Helper gets the kill. Trace trying to get under the tower. Is he going to be able to do anything? Chaser's here, and here comes GBM. Flash, Death Ray, absorbed by the spell shield, but GBM turning this one around. Coco didn't have his ult to come down to the bottom side. All he has is a Sheen. Trace not going to pick up the kill. GBM instead Death Rays his way to a double. And that was some good timing, at least on the part of GBM, to get there before Coco. No gate Destiny to be used. 4-2 now, the kills for JIN.
Meanwhile, Ambition tries to furiously push the mid lane in to at least deny some CS, but GBM will be right there to pick it up.
Yeah, very big commitment in that bottom side. They tried to get down there with the TP, but Trace matched it, and then the faster roam from GBM helping to turn it around. So dragon attempt by CJ. They should know this is going on.
Did Mallard just miss a stationary target?
I think he did. That's how he rolls. Massive hook. Doesn't he? See, he saves his missed hooks for the dragon.
Ah, gotcha.
You know, he uses them all up there, and then that's why he hits all the other ones.
Never knew it worked like that.
Yeah,
I'll try it myself.
No, it only works for Mad Life.
Oh, okay,
I'm
gotcha.
sorry.
All right, all right.
He has a certain missed hook quota, so he has to like roll through that pretty quickly on unimportant objectives, unimportant moments.
Good for him. For
Please don't try it at home.
Please don't try it at home.
Well, in spite of that, CJ still coming out with a slight gold lead. Not really going to make a big difference, but they have the first dragon of the game. They have that first tower, and now they can really abuse this top side. This is where Helper needs to get a big advantage because he's going to be able to put the pressure on, because if Trace goes too far out, well, guess what? That TF is going to be behind him in a flash. He's actually going for the Lich Bane. So my question is, how early on is a 1-3-1 going to develop?
You know,
But I don't really like this, because when you get Lich Bane first, I love it on TF when you can actually 1-3-1, but
Right.
you're not in a situation where you're going to be able to 1-3-1 really here at all. I mean, Trace is going to be pushed in merely because you have a TF in that global ganking threat, but not because this Maokai is going to be doing a lot to him with the Merc Treads and the Flask.
well, what this shows to me is that Coco is expecting, you know, more of these like smaller skirmishes to keep erupting rather than these big team fights. So he doesn't have to go in and zone just to initiate a fight. In these smaller skirmishes, he just needs to dump as much damage as possible, delete one person, and turn it into like a power play, essentially.
Yeah, but he's not going to out-damage the Victor is the problem.
Well, if he can get there ahead of the Victor with his ultimate, it's not going to be an issue, but problem, as always, is execution.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to try and take away this red buff. Assist me pings coming down. Chaser watching helplessly as that buff is targeted. It does not get taken away, however. And you can see Trace doesn't want to push up, just waiting for that wave. He's going to farm out some wolves in the interim. Doesn't have smite, but he doesn't really care.
Blue is up. Will CJ contest this, though? Well, they'll take the red.
Wow, they're contesting both buffs at once. JIN should not let them do this. This is a very punishable action.
They will.
Yep, there's a chilling spike going down. Oh, he missed the death ray. Looked like at least the first proc, and now this is going to prompt a dive onto this bottom part. Jack is all alone. Jack is certainly dead. Hello, parallel convergence. Hello, death. And that is Jack dead to rights. Helper going to pay for it. Helper all alone on the top side. Good response by JIN. Now it's going to be a bit of a turret race. I don't know if they want to do this against a Sheen. They don't have a Sheen. Trace does not have Sheen yet. I don't think they can win this as long as the Lich Bane is there.
But I think what they might be going for is that the mid lane turret might be more...
It's definitely more valuable.
It's more valuable for them rather than the bottom tier 2. So overall, still a good trade, even if it's an equal-ish trade.
More worth, Barry. What has the internet done to your grammar?
It's terrible.
You've been ruined by the internet.
I've been ruined. I think it's just mainly because I'm looking at League of Legends and then I'm just falling into that gamer.
More worth.
I'm just falling into that gamer lingo right here.
Yes, it's definitely a favorable trade, but the kill still goes over to, well, they could kill a piece actually, so that's why we haven't seen the needle move on that gold differential.
But I think JIN wants that top lane turret, but they're going to back out.
I think they're going to get out of there. Even though TF Ultimate isn't available, don't want to commit to that. Coco is going for a blasting wand now. Now I'm confused, Barry.
Rabadons?
Must be. Must be.
Well, I think he's running CDR blues mainly because his ult is really short. The cooldown seems really short with that with the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. So
yeah, you'd definitely be running CDR blues here, but that is going to be a bold engage.
yeah.
It's a lot of ways to lock up that Twisted Fate. And dropping the gravity field right where he's porting is a wonderful way to do that. He can have cleanse, but he's still going to get slowed and stuck in the molasses. And if he cleanses immediately, Che can just hit him with a stun. I think you want to go for just the old reliable Sonya's Hourglass, so you can make sure. Here he goes. There's a parallel convergence, but there's no follow-up. The stun doesn't land. Ambition gets trapped and stunned himself. Uh-oh. Not a turnaround, though. Mad Life there. There's the depth charge. He gets a double knockup, but Chaser to save the day with an Evelyn ultimate to force CJ to disengage. Bit of a sloppy team fight in the mid lane, and not much gain. Captain Jack still trying to farm his way up to some more items right now. Has that Avarice Blade. We've got the AD carries matched in items, pretty much 1 for 1.
Well, Dragon's coming up in about 40 seconds. So I think this is going to be the next point of contention because I don't think JIN would want this. I feel like they would feel confident enough to fight in a 5v5. So they don't want to give CJ this Dragon timer that's going to happen.
Yeah, my question is Trace going to be able to get this Trinity Force before this Dragon fight erupts? He's going to recall right now, and yes, he is. That's a big power spike for the Hecarim. Again, some problems with the flank. Chaser is not going to have his ultimate available for this fight. However, JIN held on to all their other ults. Space is ultless. Mad Life is ultless right now. So that is a big edge to JIN, who has other forms of engage besides the Evelyn Agony's Embrace. Trace is not going to TP for it, though, so just going to start this off. They should know they have the ult advantage, and they can go for this.
Yellow convergence onto the back line.
And there it is, taken by Chaser, but here comes the, oh boy, Space just dies to Trace's Trinity Force nearly immediately. Helper still getting focused. There's Captain Jack dashing forward. Everyone's so low, and is there enough peel? GBM still trying to power through right here. There is the orb to see them underneath the turret. Coco low. Coco got a gold card GBM. And Trace actually gets bottled up under the tower.
Great
nice
play.
Job from Mad Life. Overextension from the JIN Greenwings. And there's no minion wave there to keep diving it. They're going to have to settle for just a blue buff after that death.
Still, JIN still comes out a little bit ahead.
Yep, they come out with their first dragon of the game, but we're still dead even in terms of gold.
Yeah.
Much more action-packed game, which is to be expected considering the amount of engage on both of these teams.
Now you'd have to wonder if CJ had all of their ultimates, whether that story would have changed right there.
Well, I think that's why you go for it. Coco trying to punish GBM right now. They popped on the hunt. They want to punish, and they're going to get it. There is a shutdown for Ambition onto GBM. Bit of an uncharacteristic play. GBM not normally playing that far forward. He almost never dies in those kind of situations, so bit of a misplay from GBM, not respecting that the ult from Sivir and from TF were both up.
It's a pretty big investment from CJ though. They spent flash from Coco, they used the Sivir ult, and now they're just going to zone them off.
Yep, but they get a tower for it, so CJ striking back, and Captain Jack, no culling available, so are they going to lose it? They don't have the wave clear.
That Lichbane is doing work.
Yes, that Lichbane is definitely doing work. I agree, Barry. They lost their wave clear, so they lose 2 turrets and trade for 1. And GBM dying, huge impact, and CJ really just pushing it to the maximum possible degree.
Well played by CJ, and comes out with a 1.2k gold lead. Not a lot, but still, it's something.
Well, it was so important, though, for them to take down those 2 mid lane turrets, because now they have even more avenues to create picks. And they can actually get in deep wards into the enemy jungle, which was imbalanced in favor. Uh-oh. This is a Baron. This is a Baron attempt.
This is bold. They can do it, too.
Wow, they're just going to get it for free.
Oh, they see it.
It's too late. There's no one there. That's it. JIN just gets a free Baron.
Wow.
Great call. No wards. Trace realizes that he has TP advantage, so he just pushes. And CJ doesn't, I didn't even think they could do it right there. But again, without the Gate Destiny being up, once they realized there was no wards, there was no way for CJ to see that. And they had so many people in the bottom side jungle. Great call from JIN, just great.
And when it was all said and done, 400 gold lead for JIN Greenwings. This is a seesaw.
This game has been so interesting because it's been all about ult cooldowns, and both teams have exploited the other. It's been back and forth.
Well, CJ may be hoping to get a pick.
I want to see just a replay of that Baron, but I don't think we're going to get too lucky. Here we go.
It'll be a
They
3v3,
get the gank brush.
4v3.
It's going to be a 4v3, but they have ult, and there we go. Captain Jack gets targeted with the depth charge, knocked up immediately, but there's the turnaround, Timbers, and Gravity Field, and that is a death. Oh, not quite, actually. Ambition getting out. There's the culling just for the disengage. They can't follow it up. Nice try from CJ. I'm actually surprised Ambition got out of that. He managed to pop his ult at the last second.
Captain Jack lived by the skin of his teeth.
Captain Jack, fast fingers, and GBM and Che instantly responding with their crowd control. Good reaction. That was a clever bait, though, from CJ.
Now they have to defend the top lane tier 1 against this Baroned up minion wave too. So we'll see how hard CJ wants to defend this.
I would say it would be unwise to defend it too hard right now. Yes, they have some good wave clear, but there's a lot of dive potential, and you're tangling with some pretty serious forces while JIN has that Baron buff on. Coco going on a split pushing mission. This is all about just waiting out. Oh, we got the Abyssal Scepter. Okay. Makes sense.
Abyssal Scepter and another blasting wand. So the mystery continues.
The mystery of the blasting wand. That sounds like a Harry Potter detective novel.
Sounds more like I don't know. Could be a Hardy Boys book.
The blasting wand, really? You don't think that's too magical for the Hardy Boys?
No, because they do a lot of like pseudo magical things, right? It could be some random artifact that like someone thought was magical, but it actually wasn't. I don't know, man.
Well, I look forward to your debut into young adult literature. Actually, please don't do that.
Okay.
Keep the children away from your memes.
Oh, but
we don't need another generation saying more worth.
But memes are for sharing. That's why they're memes.
That's right, just not with children.
Okay, so Dragon back up soon. Blue buff is going to be contested.
Yeah, not a lot taken for that Baron. Blue buff, I think, gets to Chaser. Still will have a smite available for the Dragon.
Yeah, 2 charges.
Helper has to use his ult right there. There'll be a little bit of downtime. Parallel convergence used, actually. This is a good timing. Maokai doesn't have ult, and Ambition doesn't have parallel convergence, so they should go for this now. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to try a 50-50, and nope, Ambition pops back out with his ultimate. Trace is here on the flank, though. He finds his way into 4 of them. Holy cow, but there's the Timbers missing, and the Chaos Storm just going to plow on through. Captain Jack gets a double. GBM flashes forward to his doom. But there's Jack. Space also going to fall. And so Dragon and 3 kills for 1 in favor of the JIN Greenwings. However, what can they take? Maybe a tier 2 in the bottom lane. They've kind of cleared out everything else on the map, however.
They might go for both.
Ooh. 2 towers. Fancy. All right, let's take a look at how this went down. So here we go. Helper eats a culling, and that's just a great ult. Che actually did stun Coco right there, it looked like, so he did actually land the Timbers onto 1 person. But just the Wombo combo that comes in after the Onslaught of Shadows, doing just a ton of damage. GBM, maybe you don't want to flash forward into that Sivir, but Space also ends up paying for it with his life.
Oh, no.
Well, CJ now firmly on the back foot. But anything can change with a good engage with this composition, so.
I like how Captain Jack went for his 3rd item QSS. He sees that there's not a lot of armor yet. It's actually a good pickup. Helper's just has that Spirit Visage, only now starting to pick up the cloth armor. There's an Aegis onto Ambition. So why not just get the QSS right now, make yourself a little bit less vulnerable to the Maokai and to the TF, and then build into a Last Whisper right when they get their armor items. Good build. Here we go, TP. Here comes the flank from behind. Oh boy, Space, goodbye. That is it for him. Just gets nearly one-shotted by Trace. That Hecarim, so dangerous if you can get a flank as such. And another kill. Baron up in a minute 25. JIN looking to end this game much sooner than the last one, playing aggressively.
Yeah, that was just a lot of damage. You didn't even use Ignite for that, too.
Why would you need to use Ignite when you have a Trinity Force and a charging pony? Get out of here, Barry. You don't light people on fire, you trample them under your glorious hooves.
The fire keeps you warm at the same time.
Well,
Oh.
okay. Trace gets into the back once again alongside Chaser. Helper still under the turret. Helper actually taking a lot of damage but gets hit by the gravity field. Captain Jack is actually very chunked out. Have they gone too far? They have. Coco with the turnaround, and Jin is going to get aced 40 seconds before the Baron spawns. They're going to have time to get there, but a sloppy engage by Jin Air. They went on to Helper.
Ambition had one of the best parallel convergence into his ultimate that I've seen in a while.
Yeah. It was definitely strong. There was a lot of crowd control, but you cannot dive a composition like CJ's. Parallel convergence, so much. There's like stuns on everybody.
Yeah.
So let's check out how this looks. Trace comes in from behind. Chaser just kind of wanders around in a circle underneath the turret for a second, so not great team fighting from him either. So let's watch Ambition right here as he comes up from the side. You can see keep on charging forward to get that damage down. And Che, it's just easy cleanup.
Yeah.
A really good composition for counter diving. So Jin Air punished for it. Now that's a CJ lead. They're not going to be able to get a free Baron.
This game is so back and forth.
Yeah, that was
pretty ridiculous.
That was pretty sloppy by Jin Air.
Well,
I mean, again, it looks like Trace is just out of sync with his team because Chaser literally just ran around in a circle in front of the turret before he actually started attacking anybody. And Trace isn't tanky enough yet to do that. Yeah, he does damage. Great for those picks. But they're not in a situation yet where they can dive the tower. Remember that Chaser has that warrior enchant going for the damage early. They have to have more time.
but will they get it? Because CJ Entus looks like they want to establish position on this Baron and maybe, get the advantage that they need to close out the game. So, Scuttle Crab going to CJ. And meanwhile, Helper catching the wave at bottom. It's just standard line of scrimmaging.
Yeah, I mean, they have to put more pressure on with this Hecarim, but they're scared to because they don't have TP. Now, if they see Hecarim on this side of the map, that could prompt a teleport play from CJ just onto the Baron. They have vision. They could basically do what Jin Air did in the last game. That's why Trace is playing so cautiously around this bottom side right now. He doesn't want to get seen.
CJ should just go for the top lane. Tier 2 right now, I think.
They could, but I think they just need to bait around this Baron.
Well, Dragon up in almost a minute. 50 seconds left.
Helper now sees Trace in the bottom side as they don't want that wave moving too far up. And
Helper is so big right now.
yeah, he now that the Frozen Heart is done, he's going to have a lot easier time against Captain Jack. Captain Jack finishing his last Whisper, though. So he's not going to be too far behind when it comes to dealing with the tank line.
No Zonia on either mid laner, too. No Zonia's Hourglass.
Yeah, well, on the Victor, it doesn't really surprise me that much, but on Coco, it really does. He's going for it now, but
Watch him prove you wrong and it turns into
The
Luden's
Luden's-
Echo for the poke damage on the wild card.
no,
Sweet, sweet poke.
no sweet poke.
All right, well, I think CJ can get this fairly easily. Chaser's very far away.
Yeah, they're scared too. Just gonna hold for a little bit of disengage.
2-2.
Yep, they just want to lock down the dragon. So you go ahead and use the Nautilus ultimate to that end, but they're gonna give up their wards around the Baron as the price.
CJ being forced to take a long way around on the way to Baron as well. Neither team overly eager to pull the trigger right now.
Well, somebody's gonna have to face check this brush. Coco is here clearing out a pink ward. There you go. Have a nice little sapling in the pixel brush. There's the check with the parallel convergence. Chaser here around the side, just skirting around Ambition's field of vision.
He is so deep behind enemy lines.
Oh man, they want this.
This would be a godly flank.
He's nicely hidden. They have no idea he is there.
Oh, but they're pushing back.
He's going to go for it. He goes for it. There's the Agony Embrace. Helper still on the front line. Trace gets onto space. Trace misses his ultimate, though. How much is that going to cost? Helper still tanking out most of this front line. There is space. Gets Che on the side. They're going to take down Helper. And who else is going to go down next? Ambition, the target. It is 1 for 2 right now. Mad Life and Helper go down. And Chaser's secret mission behind enemy lines proves successful. And now
Baron.
they can go for the Baron. Remember, Coco doesn't have an ult. Chaser is just so... Oh.
That was dirty. And he's going to pay for it.
Yes, he will. Coco is there. Coco flashes over the wall to finish it off, but they're not going to be able to get a Baron now because Ambition is still alive and they lost their jungler. So actually, that was a bit of a save. Chaser may have been too greedy to take down space. Flash Chilling Smite in the end.
Yeah. They could have taken the Baron.
I
I feel like they could have.
they could have.
Right.
The question is, how much of a risk was it to keep doing that? Coco didn't have his ult, so maybe they could have pulled that one off, but incredibly close team fights in this game.
With CJ now at a 2.3K gold lead over JIN Greenwings.
Not that much of a deal, big deal, honestly.
This far into the game, yeah.
Yeah, this far into the game, GBM starting to build into that Lich Bane, so he has some extra mobility in these team fights.
And now we have the Zhonya's Hourglass for Coco, who's 5-0-6 on Twisted Fate.
Yeah, he has definitely been the major factor this game for his team. Everyone else dying quite a bit.
He's almost at 6 items.
Yes, well, yeah, definitely getting close. Void Staff will be his last one. And there is a gate. He knows he's in trouble. He's just going to have to gate out. Yeah, he got caught a little bit too far forward right there, realized that 5 members were collapsing on him, and so just preempts that little bad situation by going for the ultimate out.
So JIN Greenwings just hiding around the Baron area, and Chaser going on another super secret mission behind enemy lines.
I love Chaser's super secret missions. Here comes the TP. They've got TP this time. Both
Space
TPs being
is
used.
so
Space,
dead.
goodbye, buddy. You are not getting out of this one. There's another death, and Captain Jack following through. However, GBM on the side gets focused down immediately. He turns onto Mad Life. Mad Life caught up on his own. Jack may go down. Helper is here. How much damage do they have? Actually, CJ doing pretty well. Chaser and Trace have to pull this one out. GBM gets stunned by the parallel convergence. He's trying to kite, but it is too much. Everyone else is so low. Trace just trying to finish it off. Gold card means that he is stopped dead in his tracks. And the kiting from Coco actually saving them in the end.
Coco had exited that fight almost instantly.
Yes.
He took a huge bunch of damage, went down, started a recall, and stopped his recall about 3 times in the course of that fight.
And he kept putting out damage, too. He was throwing wild cards in, and he actually was the reason why his teammates were able to live.
Yeah, once he gets a Void Staff, he's going to do so much more damage, too. Those wild cards are actually doing a lot of work, too.
Yeah, and again, it's been about Trace and Space. I mean, Trace has just annihilated Space in every single team fight so far, just gunning directly at the center.
Oh, dear.
Goodbye.
Nice. That's stacked deck as well.
Stack deck doing work. Now it's going to be a 4v5. There is no more smite. Chaser a little bit greedy, and that's the second time a JIN member has not respected the gate. So they have to fight a 4v5, and that's going to go down so fast. I'm not sure JIN is really going to be able to do this.
They have the execute damage on Echo. They have the Lich Bane.
Yeah, they can't do this. They're going to have to back off and give this one up. No, they're going to go in anyway. They find Coco. Trace on the flank. He gets the fear, but the Baron goes to Ambition. Ambition gets stunned. How much follow-up damage is there? Not enough as Coco takes out Trace. And Che going to try and run back to the base right now. No more Tibbers for the Annie. Can CJ actually turn this game around? Come back from that sneak Baron. They're going to try and get some more turrets down, try and stretch that gold lead.
Can they get this inhibitor turret, though? That is the question. Will they get it?
The culling is down. Yes,
for you.
that is huge right there. They have so much damage with the Lichbane from Coco that it just cuts through the base. Coco showing up absolutely massive.
Dragon is up now. Can CJ get this dragon? Can they contest this?
No, they're not going to get it. Basically, Jin is just going to rush it. They shouldn't have time. Coco's ult is up now, though. Yeah, now that Coco's ult is up, they can contest.
They're backing off.
Yeah, they
They're
can
afraid.
contest. Finally learning to respect that gate. But, man, Coco has been everywhere this game.
Can't help but be in love with it.
Can't help but be in love with the Coco. It's true.
All right, that's the third dragon going over CJ Entus, and they get that nice little move speed boost.
Still, the game relatively even.
Yes.
And remember, we've seen this story before. Jin was in the same situation last game, and they actually managed to turn it around. And if you just look at these team compositions, I mean, GBM and Captain Jack should be able to carry harder in the late game. Hello.
Oh, wow. That was just to check if anyone was hiding in that wall.
It was just a feeler, convergence, parallel convergence. Getting the information you need to make sure you can stay ahead.
And they're going for the split push with Coco, which is smart. And Coco still has the gate to come and join his team.
Yeah, however, the super minions are going to have to wait for a little bit before they're actually able to put that pressure down. And Coco gets caught, has to flash over the wall. Chaser, you can't, no. There you go. He's going to back off, but that's a great call from CJ. See two people there. Go after that bottom tower. Now Jack gets caught by Madlife. Here comes the gate. Everyone backing off from Jin. And are they going to be able to get anything? No, they have to use a Cimarol because Chaser's coming from the flank. No Cimarol, no glory used right there. That would have been a very dead CJ Entus. So the defense holds from Jin.
Just barely.
And
they still lose a turret, though.
Yeah, they lost a turret, but they're not going to lose a Nexus turret, it looks like. They're able to hold on.
Coco is up 5,000 gold on GBM.
That's absolutely crazy because it's not even like GBM is doing bad. He's 3-3-7. It's just the fact that Coco is 8-0-6.
With 383 farm.
Yeah. And he doesn't even have any place to spend like 2,000 gold of that money right now, so.
What can he do? The only thing I would think is maybe selling the Abyssal for a Ludens for more damage, but
I think he has he should be a little bit worried about GBM dropping a Chaos Storm or something on him, though, so that
True.
magic resist might actually be valuable.
well, we've gone back into a bit of a lull. Trace caught.
Pass ult out. Huge takeaway there for CJ. That's another backline spell that isn't going to be particularly threatening.
Well, Gate Destiny almost back up so they can go back to their split pushing ways with Coco, but they're going to group up as 5 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they really want to take this. Remember, no more Baron buff, but also Onslaught of Shadows down for another like 40 seconds. So
They got a small window.
they do have a small window, even though, again, the super minions aren't there. Parallel convergence is not going to land. Captain Jack going to spin his pistols in front right there. And Ambition doing a really good job of zoning. GBM has to be super careful to just get ulted.
That tower, that inhibitor is going down so quickly.
Well, that's
One
what
more
Coco
hit.
does. He's got that gold card locked and loaded. So you're going to unleash it, and there's just the Righteous Glory. They just want the inhibitor. Very nicely done. Don't commit to a fight.
Chaser looking for a flank, though. He's going around, but CJ sees him.
Yeah, no, not going to find it. And instead, Jin has to turn back. They're going to once again defend their Nexus turret. This game is so similar to the last one, it is ridiculous.
Yeah, and yeah, Sivir finished with the Blade of the Ruined King. Will have a little bit of an easier time against the Hecarim. Maybe a little bit easier. If he can survive that initial burst, he might be able to sustain through. But if he gets
He's going to kill himself on the Thornvale.
if he can get the Elixir of Wrath, that might help, though.
It's all right. Trace will just get the Elixir of Sorcery for his Thornmail and deal true damage with his Thornmail damage. The most baller way if you're a tank to kill somebody is to buy Elixir of Sorcery while you have Thornmail, and then watch them take true damage. It's hilarious.
It's only
You're
once
welcome.
It's only once
You're
every
welcome.
6 seconds, though.
You're welcome, Solo Q.
It's only once every 6 seconds.
It's true.
It's not as broken as you think it is, guys. No, please no Rito plus nerf this thread. It's not broken.
It's just hilarious.
Yes.
Okay, so JIN trying to make a stand here.
Got another
The inhibitor's
open
back up.
Ooh, Chaser. Still around the flank.
He's got to make a play. They have to engage this properly.
He's going in so far back.
I love you, Chaser. Let's go. Let's do this.
He's got it.
There we go. Coco taking a lot of damage right back.
Oh.
Coco is going to Zonia's right at the last second. Is he going to die, though? Bad Life goes down. Immediately space on the backside. GBM and Che doing a lot of damage. Captain Jack, where is he? He's got the autos in. They're going for it. Helper has to flash over the thick part of the wall. And there's the Onslaught of Shadows. GBM trying to get onto Ambition. Trace has to run away from space. He's doing too much damage, so they don't actually clean up any more kills after the initial onslaught from JIN.
But Baron up in 15 seconds with Dragon to follow in the next 40 seconds. Death timer's at 40 seconds for Coco. JIN's going to get both.
Well, they're at least going to get one. Trace has to go back to base right now just to clear out the super minions. They bought themselves some more time. This has been a very wild best of 3. JIN gonna go for it. Captain Jack has to do a little bit of tanking. Chaser finally going to arrive. Ambition gonna pop an Iron Elixir, but they have to give up this Baron. No chance.
Well, get position around the dragon. If you can get 4 dragon stacks, then you go for the 5th one. It doesn't matter how long it goes. If you get that 5th dragon stack, at least with teams of teams of this caliber, can close out a game with 5 dragon stacks.
Yeah, they're going to push back this wave. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get there in time. The setup is too good. They're going to have to give up the dragon and just to get their inhibitor back up. But frankly, just getting the Baron right now is a major trade. Trace is looking for it. Trace can't go for it, though. It's too late.
You know, I would have, quit my job or like any future jobs and set up the Church of Trace if you had somehow stolen that dragon.
Well, he wouldn't have been able to get out, so...
Yeah. But that doesn't matter.
Okay, so here's what he should have done. It's just like TP to the pink ward in bottom lane,
Yeah.
run into the pit, stole it with a rampage, and then ulted over the back of the dragon wall.
Church of Trace. You missed that, Trace. You would have had at least one devout follower.
It's all right. I can set up the play. Actually, space.
They just want to get there quicker?
What?
I think it must have been a misclick. He must have fat-fingered it.
Well, he got down the lane really fast with his teammates. That's
Hey.
actually an important cooldown.
That was a fastest rotation we've seen yet.
That wasn't really a rotation. They're just walking down one lane.
Well, the real question is, does JIN know about this?
Yeah, I don't think they saw it. So
If JIN knows, then they're going to take this fight. They might know, actually.
that's a destiny right there, Pop. They're going to try and get in just to defend the turret. Uh-oh. That turret going down real fast. They have a Lichbane now, too.
Well, bit of a lull.
GBM's Lichbane. And they've got this cannon minion. It is going to slowly whittle down this tower, or it's going to hit Mad Life. What the hell?
Nice.
Wow, that's actually super lucky that that happened.
Oh, man. Even the minions are on CJ Entus' side.
Yeah, actually, JIN pulling back with this minion wave. They've got a couple members who are chucked down. Trey's going to get in, and Chaser once again finds the flank. Is there enough follow-up? No, he's going to go down, but so is Helper, trading 1 for 1, but that Maokai loss is pretty huge. Again, there's no ult from TF.
No ult from TF, but the bottom wave is pushing. 2 super minions on that wave. Silver ult used. They're chasing.
And they want to just stop the recalls right now. They want that inhibitor. GBM gets seen, he gets seen. There was a ward right by the Raptors. And now Trace has to run away. GBM not playing smart around the vision. Trace still trying to gallop out, and he's gonna make it.
Is this the end? Because it's 66 seconds on GBM, 40 seconds on Chaser. This might be it.
It depends on whether they can actually get this And they can. Looks like they're going to stun Captain Jack. There's the turnaround with the Timbers. Trace comes back in. He needs to kill somebody, and that's going to be somebody going down instead. And Captain Jack goes down. Double kill for Space. That's going to be it. What a wild series it has been between Jin and CJ tonight. Coco just going to swag teleport to the other side of the Nexus, and that is a CJ 2-0. Surprisingly, still incredibly close.
The closest 2-0 yet this season, too.
Ridiculously close 2-0. And CJ will avenge themselves for getting smashed by Jin a couple weeks ago.
Extremely well played by both teams.
Yeah, nice games. Especially that first one.
Coach giving his players a big hug and a kiss on the cheek, as usual.
Well, Coco is the man that game for sure. 8-1-9, ends the game. Huge, basically the main reason why CJ was able to win.
456 CS, 23K gold earned in that game. That is ridiculous.
Absolutely massive. Also the most damage in the game, of course, followed up by Captain Jack and GBM. So really a nice hard carry. Tough loss for Jin Air. 2 very close games for them.
I mean, that's what happens when you ride this fine line all the time, right? You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Well, that game was much more aggressive early on, clearly.
I love the jungle pathing from Chaser.
Yeah, it's great at the beginning. Good start for Chaser. Also, Chaser's flanks were great.
Chaser played phenomenally well.
Yeah, I really felt that was a game of who was going to carry harder. Was it going to be Chaser or was it going to be Coco?
Except that, one of these positions is better for carrying your team.
Yeah, I don't know about that weight in the brush either by GBM. That's one of his faults as a player is sometimes in these do or die situations as he licks his lips. That's a very interesting camera shot. Sometimes in these situations, he will do stuff like that. He will try a solo brush height. I've seen him do it on Ari and lose a game that way too, where he thinks he can surprise the enemy. But there was just straight up a ward right there at the Raptor brush.
Well, Chaser did his best. Looks justly disappointed.
Really good setup with that, Evelyn.
And Helper